Welcome back, everybody, to the Oakland A's franchise on MLB The Show 23. We are closing in on the end of Season 5, and I think we're still progressing, although this year hasn't exactly gone the way we had hoped. We got off to a pretty rough start in April and May, having 2 months playing under 500 baseball, and we've gotten better throughout the season. But there's still something missing, and I think that main thing is just time for more development on this young roster. We're still on track to have a better record than we did last year when we won 74 games. We just have to win more than 7 games now in the final month to top that and basically set a new high mark for us in the series. Going through the stats here, I noticed that we're not really bad in a lot of areas. We're also not extremely strong in any areas at the same time, so we're not a team that can lean on an elite pitching staff or an elite offense. We kind of go back and forth. We're inconsistent, and sometimes the offense is carrying the team, and other times the pitching staff is. But both, I think, are on track when you think of just how young this team is, how much better they can be. We haven't been the best home run hitting team. We're really relying on 3 or 4 guys to supply the bulk of that power. We have a really good on-base team, and that's going to be a strength, I think, for a long time, given players like Arraez and Aaron Dawn, Miguel Cabrera. We have a lot of good on-base players this year. The ERA is at 17 here for the team. But one thing we've struggled to do is close games out. We have blown a lot of leads overall. Alex Reyes didn't play as well as a closer as you would like. Acevedo, I think, has been mostly fine. But there's still some room for improvement along this bullpen. We're 5 games under 500. We'll see how far we get today. But there is some development I wanted to talk with all of you about, and we have to call up 2 players as the September rosters expand. First up, number 1 prospect in baseball, Yusniel Cruz. Here's his development as he's become an 80. But one area he has struggled this year is power hitting against lefties. A -8 really stings, especially because we have such a lefty-heavy lineup right now, and we need hitting against left-handed pitching, and now our number 1 prospect is going in the wrong direction in that department. He has a fine average against lefties, but he's not hitting for power. 306 average with 1 homer in 72 at-bats. I think it's a little extreme, but I guess he's not showing the power against left-handed pitching. Now, it's the opposite situation for Ivan Melendez, one of the greatest risers this season. That's a +13 contact versus lefties. 13 is incredible for 1 year, especially a 27-year-old who's trying to show he can still have a big league future. This significantly boosts his chances. Also, down at the AA level, there's Reggie Rankin, who's upgraded his power versus lefties by 10. And he was one of those contact-oriented infielders that I've drafted, and now he's starting to put on a little more power, and that could really change the prospects for his future. Another one of our top prospects is Marco Da Silva, and he's looking at just good all-around development and is now up to a 62 overall. I want to say he's around 10th as far as overall prospects in baseball go. We're right on track. We're just not, having the success we hoped we would at this stage, but I feel like the pieces are in place. Back here at the big league level, I think we have a really good lineup. It's better now than it was at the start of the year. Miguel Cabrera was down in the minor leagues. Aaron Dawn just simply wasn't playing well, and neither was Miguel Vargas. But everybody has seemed to improve over the course of the year. I think one thing that you're still disappointed with is just, what are we getting offensively out of the outfield as a whole? Because this Dylan Carlson signing didn't really pan out the way I've been hoping. His average has dipped 50 points, his on-base is down, and slugging is down way too much. And then Josh Baez has been up and down, but the highs are not quite high enough with him. And that's the way it's been for Miguel Vargas. Time's running out for these guys, because Yusniel Cruz is coming next year most likely. But as far as our call-ups go, I want to call up Ivan Melendez. He has not yet made his big league debut, but the plus 13 versus lefties, if we could use a boost anywhere right now, it's against those lefty pitchers. So Melendez will join the 40-man roster, and he's moving up to the bigs. And we're also going to be moving up Cole Phillips, who after a rocky start this year is now playing much better, and I want to see him get a chance to join the big league roster again. He was a late addition last year as well, so we'll have some data to compare his starts against when he didn't look quite ready. Wow, Medina's numbers have taken a huge tumble here down the stretch. He's in a cold streak. The whip isn't looking good. The ERA isn't looking good. And we're seeing some steep regression right now. Now, we don't have the option of sending him down to AAA if we wanted to try and pass him through waivers. I don't think that's a good idea. But maybe he gives up his rotation spot now. And that'll give Cole Phillips a chance to show us how far he's come in a year's time. Landon Sims has gotten a ton of development at the same time. I want to get him some more innings here down the stretch. And we're going to move Jonathan Hernandez down into this setup role, which at the very least will just reduce his innings and give Sims a chance to pitch on a more regular basis down the stretch. So now it's time to play a little baseball as we get into the month of September. Losing 12-1. What a great way to get things underway here with Cole Phillips giving up 4 runs in 3 2/3 innings. He got rocked, Medina got rocked, and then Kendrick Haynes got 1 out and gave up 5 runs. Pitching is the number one thing we're looking at this offseason. When you look at this lineup, I don't think that there's a need to go into free agency for any of these spots. You know, Yusniel Cruz is coming, and guys like Aaron Dunn are going to keep developing. He's 21, Trace Sweeney's 26. If we have holes anywhere, it's with pitching. And we have some prospects, but they're clearly not ready. You know, Cam Cope's a 76, not even playing that well this year at AAA. I think that we're going to have to go outside the organization in the offseason. Soroka gets us back on track with a very strong outing against the Tigers. And Joe Michael, Luis Arraez has tore his hamstring. He's going to be done for the year. We're going to put him on the 60-day list then. Wow. Soderstrom suffers a minor injury. We'll keep him active. It's back-to-back victories. But we gave up 3 in the 9th inning. So Michael had a shutout going. Acevedo then blew the save. But we win that game in extras. Take the first 2 from Detroit. But now without Luis Arraez the rest of the year, we're going to have to replace him, obviously. And that's where I think Miguel Vargas can play every day. We'll get him some more at-bats. But clearly we should not be hitting him that high in the order. Not against righties anyway. That means Arraez will wrap up his season with 25 homers and 94 RBIs. Had a really good chance of hitting 30 homers and 100 RBIs. Something far beyond what I ever expected from him. But this has been an unbelievable year, unfortunately cut short. They literally will not let me continue unless I add a player to the roster. I have to have 28. In that case, we'll return Darell Hernaiz to the active roster. He can be a backup infielder. Good series, though, against the Tigers, as we do win 3 of 4 and had some good pitching outings. Now, on the road against Texas, we are neck and neck in this wild card race with them. 3.5 games back right now. A lot of teams still in it. The Yankees, Blue Jays, and Orioles hold on to the spots. And here we do have a series coming up against Toronto. We split the first 2 with Texas, and now Acevedo is trying to get us a series victory. Let's jump in. Closing out games is so vital right now. We have a 1-run lead, tying run at second base. A strike to Jose Trevino. There's a lot of levels in this stadium. Is that a 5th deck? Fouled off the changeup, and Trevino falls behind. Acevedo, the 1-2. Got him! Struck him out on the fastball, and Acevedo picks up the A's win. And that's a series victory on the road. Gotta take care of these games. Michael ended up going 7 innings in this matchup and struck out 7, so he picks up the win. I have my eyes on that Toronto series. Kansas City is next. Another save attempt for Acevedo. Now we're back at home, taking on the Royals, and MJ Melendez looks at strike 1. Another 1-run lead for Acevedo. Gets ahead of Melendez, and he looks at a fastball right down the middle. How do you let that one go by without a swing? That brings up Austin Meadows. Another strike. Acevedo is not playing around. 4 pitches, all in the zone. Now he misses inside. 2-1 on Meadows, and fouled off. The count is even, and fouled off. Nice pitch on the outside corner. Missing high, and the count runs full. They got Drew Mendoza on deck, but trying to keep that tying run from reaching base. Meadows to left. Retreating is done for the second out. Top shelf to Mendoza, strike 1. And now at the knees, quickly 0-2. Everybody on their feet. 0-2, just high. Softly left center. In the gap, it is run down, and the A's pick up a 2-1 win. Gotta finish the season strong. And Acevedo collects another save. Dustin May is with the Royals now. Okay, then. We're getting some outstanding starts. At some point, the offense is going to have to pick up the slack. But right now, the pitching is getting us these wins. We're off to a 6-3 start this month, and in none of our victories have we scored more than 4. And the next day, now the runs do get going, and we're down by 1. So even in situations like this, I think I'm going to lean towards going with the watched games. It feels weird just jumping into a game, not being able to feel anything out throughout the game and just kind of jumping in cold. I don't think I play well when I do that. I know it's a brand new pitcher, so I couldn't have been used to him anyway. But I just prefer watching some of these critical situations. Soderstrom's 2-2. Coleman strikes him out. 1 down. That one could be playable. In foul ground. Caught for the second out. Leaves the game up to Zach Geloff, who's got a pair of hits on the day. Weekly chopped, and Geloff is 2-2 against Dylan Coleman. He struck him out. Coleman puts the lineup down in order, and the Royals pick up a 1-run win this time around. Bobby Witt hits 2 homers. Pete Santana hits 2 homers. Hard to win when you give up that many. Now Hoagland gets rocked, and he's up to a 5.9 ERA. In the finale against Kansas City, we have a 1-run lead to protect. Kendrick Haynes on the mound. 2 on and 2 down. Kendrick Haynes was just put into the game. And that pitch is low. Now, throughout the season, when he's gotten chances, Haynes has not done well in the late innings. From what I've seen, I don't want him in the 8th and 9th inning too often. That one is in there, and the count is now 2-2. Missed outside. The count is full, and everyone's going to leave early. What does he have ready here? 3-2. Ball 4 to Alejandro Kirk. And the bases are loaded for Austin Meadows. Royals need 1 to tie, 2 to take the lead. And Haynes is falling behind, 2-0. There's an important strike at 96. Come on, Kendrick. Hammered to right, and Meadows breaks it open. A grand slam off Kendrick Haynes, and the Royals take a 3-run lead just like that. It has not been a good year for Kendrick Haynes. His numbers came in looking pretty good, but I remember seeing all these blown leads and runs given up in the 8th inning, and in this case, a grand slam in the 9th. Just a fastball right in the wheelhouse, and Meadows turns on it. That one hurts. Royals win this game and take the series. That is a tough one to lose here when there's such little room for error in the season's final month. 5 games back now in the wild card, and there's only a couple weeks left in the season. Well, here's that series against the Blue Jays, one we have to do well in. It's 8-1. Don't think we're winning that one. Shutout the next day. Offense again lets us down. We'll do a player lock game quick, and I think now we can maybe spend some time talking about just talk about some of the development and how I think the next couple of years could go. So Don comes in, 33 stolen bases, a .262 average. He just didn't have a good start to the year, but I think that overall it's a very strong season and one that we can build upon for the future. 6 homers isn't very much. You'd like to see a little more power and extra base action from him, and maybe in time that'll show up. I feel like it will. I feel like I've seen a lot of these just solid hitters who have good vision, good contact, eventually display a little power. And maybe it won't be elite, but maybe it's a Luis Arraez like ascent, where eventually he just randomly becomes like a 25 home run hitter. That's strike 3 from Nate Pearson. And what about his defense? Obviously, with these young outfielders, it's tough to get players who are good in the field, can throw runners out. And Don has gotten better. That's just one of those things that gets better pretty slowly. So 90 fielding, 88 reaction is really nice. I feel like the arm is getting to a place where it's a little more acceptable. The strength is higher than accuracy. It's at 64 arm strength. I think once we get to 70, it feels like, all right, you're a capable major league fielder. Now, he doesn't hit many homers, but he is first on the team in doubles. And this one sneaks through the right side. His power's gotten better. And I think if he keeps hitting those doubles, keeps hitting for a high average, eventually you'll turn that corner. And the same, I think, will be true for Miguel Cabrera. These two are just too good. They'll keep developing, I believe. Cabrera in the air, left field. Doesn't drop in. So this year, I looked at the postseason as a possibility, just based on the young players could end up really surprising us in a positive way. Now, I think that we've gotten some good development, but no one's had that year outside of like Miguel Cabrera that will really change the direction of a team. But what I feel best about now is I look at our lineup, I know that Cruz is on the way, and I just think that we have the right players there once Cruz shows up. Baez has disappointed, Carlson's disappointed. Don rolls one through, base hit right field. Now Carlson with his defense offers value there, and hopefully he bounces back next season. Miguel Cabrera, obviously, high-level contributor this season. Aaron Don's doing well. But as I keep saying, like, I think the thing this team needs most is time. Find a pitcher or two in the offseason. Shore up that bullpen if we can. And then hopefully everything just falls into place offensively. I don't know if we should be concerned about our home run numbers. Like, I feel like our offense is good at enough things where it's okay to not be a prolific home run hitting team. But it is concerning to be good at on base and just good in all these areas. We don't strike out very often. And then you go through these stretches where we struggle to score more than 4 runs. Do we need to be a good home run hitting team to clear 4 runs? In my head, I don't think you need to. But for whatever reason, things aren't working right now. Don goes to left with 2 down. And he drops it in! The A's score. Don has his 3rd hit. And there are 2 in scoring position now for Oakland. And that's another double. We might not be a playoff team this year, but I really want to win as many games as we can and try to set a higher bar for year 6. Cabrera, I think he's under it. Yeah, that's not going to do it. Oh, we got 1 run. We had to work really hard for that run, by the way. And now we're already losing again. Maybe it's hitting with runners in scoring position that is another problem. Although I'm not really sure what we can do about that outside of chasing high batting clutch, and we have good batting clutch. 2 on, 1 down. Paul Sewell trying to close us out. Don swings ahead of the slider, right through it. That was timed up. We have 10 hits, 1 run. Our issue has to be hitting with runners in scoring position. No, late on it, down the line and out of reach, but likely will not see a better pitch than that. Strike 3. I think that was timed up okay. But Don is gone. Let's see this swing. That looked timed up. Jays hold on for a win, and we're swept out of Canada. I think at that point, you got to realize it's not going to happen this year. 7.5 games back. We're eliminated here in 2 games. So, yeah, we're not going to the playoffs this year. Of course, we go on to immediately sweep the White Sox. So, at least we get a good showing there. Don with 2 more hits. Vargas had 3. A good start from Michael Soroka. We lose a series to the Houston Astros and just have 1 final series. Ooh, Cole Phillips having a really good day. That's a 3-0 shutout of Seattle. We gave up 4 hits the entire day. We only had 6 hits offensively. Half of those came from Trey Sweeney. So Phillips goes 7 2/3 on his way to one of his best showings of the year. A's beat the Mariners, and so we're going to play our season finale looking for win number 80. And I've got to check those numbers, by the way. How bad is it with runners in scoring position? It's gone well for Miguel Cabrera. Trey Sweeney's hitting 290. Soderstrom 280. I felt like a lot of these averages were hopeful, but, you know, it's too low for Carlson, Don, Baez, Muncy. Again, I just keep coming back to the outfield. Overall offensive output is not good relative to the rest of the league at all. And we're closing out the first season of baseball in the new Athletics Park. It was exciting to debut the stadium this year. I was hoping we could also take a big leap forward and be a playoff team in this building, but we're not there yet. We've gotten better every year in the series, but what we've been missing is that big step. And I think in baseball, it's tough to take those big steps when you're a rebuilding team. So much has to go right, and it's a difficult sport to rebuild a team. It takes a long time, and it's so easy for things to just not work, especially when you're dealing with a more limited budget and you're really not going to be rebuilding as much through free agency. I wish we had been able to take a larger step, and I think next year, anything other than the postseason is going to be a big disappointment. I know that a lot are disappointed in the state of the team this year. That's the top comment on last video, just expressing that it's been a disappointing season. I have to agree. When you look at the way we began the year, playing sub-500 baseball in April and May, and then starting to turn things around, but nowhere near enough to actually put this team into a strong position. We jump ahead to Juan Soto. Last time we saw him, he was driving out a home run against us in a game we lost last episode. Michael just misses. And the count runs full. Never a fun at-bat against Juan Soto. Fouls that one off. And now popped him up. Geloff coming in for the second out. These are the 1965 throwback uniforms, by the way. The A's have, I think, outstanding throwbacks, better than a lot of teams. Fun to break these out. Even if I'm just naturally opposed to the green and gold color scheme. France to left, and Don will find it on the edge of the grass. Got a tough matchup here against Logan Gilbert in the season finale. And Aaron Don's going to get us underway at 34 stolen bases. Can we get him one more before the season ends? I have him leading off just because Cabrera is so much better with runners in scoring position and has shown a bit more power. So it makes more sense to hit him behind Don. Trying to go the other way to no avail. And now right back to Gilbert. And he makes the play. But if anybody has given us like a really big surprise this year in a good way, it is Miguel Cabrera. I think we were all excited to see him eventually make his debut, and it didn't really happen when I expected, but I think it turned out to be the right time. Now, he only has one home run, but I know he has decent slugging numbers. The guy is always reaching base. Can't do it here, so we have two down. But without a doubt, he raised the play of this offense. And then there's Tyler Soderstrom, who took a really big leap this season. Much better than last year. And he's hitting .275 going into the finale with 24 home runs. So he's one of the best hitting catchers in all of baseball at this point. Countdown Soderstrom 2-2. Rolled it through the right side. A 2-out single. Sweeney comes in hitting .251. He's actually in the running for a gold glove at short. And I feel like his defense has been really good there. 17 homers. Didn't get to see his full numbers here. I accidentally made that go away. But I feel like Sweeney's doing a very good job as he smokes one through the infield. And we got two on. But when you look at this lineup, and, you know, outside of Arraez and Guerrero, everybody else is still getting better. Like, how can we not take a good leap here eventually if, like, 7 of the 9 players in the starting offense are getting better? I don't feel like very many players here are maxed out. So, next year, I got very high hopes and expectations. If we can add a pitcher, maybe strengthen this bench somehow, some way if we need to. A starting pitcher, a couple bullpen arms. I think we'll be in a good spot. Now, I think Medina's starting spot is kind of debatable at this point. He hasn't had a good year. And while he's been all right at times, as Geloff strikes out to end the inning, he's not playing anywhere near well enough to not challenge his role, especially this year taking a step back. Two strikes on Jared Kelenic. Michael had to throw a lot of pitches in the first, so he wants a quick at-bat. gets it against Kelnick. And hey, at the very least, we've gotten to see some lights out action out of Joe Michael this year. It's fun pitching with him. I think I've gotten a lot better at it. And just watching him overpower with a fastball is really fun. Because I'm used to having a lot of pitchers that you just wouldn't be able to do that with. I usually have a lot of guys who are lower whip, lower average, but, you know, maybe 7 to 8 strikeouts per 9 innings. Michael is different. Grounded onto Geloff, trying to get 2, and it is a quick top of the second. Ivan Melendez is getting the start today. I didn't think Vladimir Guerrero had to play this one. So Melendez earns the start after a year of mashing lefties at AAA. He's a tall first baseman, has balanced hitting ability, and he's 27 years old. So I think the hope next year is that he finds a role on this bench. Melendez has a little position flexibility. He could also pick up some starts at third base if needed. But I think now he's going to have a chance to earn some more playing time. And he'll start off this inning with a base hit. Maybe a power bat on the bench, too, would be something else to look at. As Muncy lifts to left, that one is caught. Just trying to think about, okay, how can we get better at driving in these base runners? We constantly leave guys on base. And I think maybe strengthening this bench is one way to do it. Can we do that for cheap? Can we get just a lefty that can come off? I don't know if I want like a Joey Gallo type who's home run or strikeout, but gotta find a way to get better in these areas. Langoliers hit a home run today. Down below, he's credited now with 14 homers. We'll check on his stuff at the end. We traded him for Marshall Lerma to strengthen our bullpen. Base hit right field. Again, the A's get him aboard. Now it's about actually doing something with them and not losing them when they're already on base. Carlson, 2 on and 1 down. Hitting 9th. Carlson lifts it right field. And that one is going to be caught with Melendez trying to move up successfully. And hitting with runners in scoring position right now is just not Aaron Don's forte. We'll see if he can get something here. The crowd's behind him. They love him here in Oakland. 33 doubles, 34 stolen bases. He is an exciting player. On the ground, and that'll do it. 2 more left aboard. Good changeup from Michael. Derek Hill is the batter. Fastball, smoke to Carlson. Blowing the fastball by him at 99. And we're going to try and do it again. Shallow pop-up. And Baez has it. This one hit the other way, and another hit for Seattle. Nicky Lopez with 2 outs. And another one towards Don that he can get to. Nice catch going to the ground. Told you he was an exciting player. Another hit for Soderstrom. And this one's going to be extras. Rolling all the way to the fence. A 1-out double here, bottom 3. 4 runners left on base. We've gotten 5 hits. Time to get a run, I think. Way outside, or inside, actually. Soderstrom moves to third. Come on, you got to bring him home now. This is enough. I don't think that Gilbert is really all that sharp. He's throwing a lot over the plate today. All right, that one got me chasing. We just got to get that run home. Like, ground it even to second base, and we're fine. Oh, man. What did I say about Gilbert not being sharp? Geloff now with 2 down. Right field. Hit well to end the inning. So another runner left in scoring position. We've done that in all 3 innings to this point. And it's scoreless. Soto finds left center field, and he's got a hit. Soto takes off, and it's fouled by France. They will not put the play on again as France goes around. Got him on 3. Good sweeper in there from Michael facing Kelnick. Michael gets ahead and just misses outside. The 2-2 is low. When the going gets tough, I usually revert to a fastball that's hittable. Grounded onto Muncy, and a double play. That one is driven out to left field. Going back, and this one is gone. A solo shot for Max Muncy, his 5th of the season. So he can't drive in runs when there are runners a hit away from scoring, but we'll get a solo home run to finally break this scoreless tie. We don't have to be a prolific home run hitting team, but you don't want to have too many guys that I think are single digits and offering nothing in that department. It's a power-oriented game these days. Muncy is not a regular starter, but Don is in single digits, Cabrera's in single digits, Baez as well. Nearly hit him. Like, if we look at our starting outfield, how many home runs has that produced? There are teams with outfielders who alone hit as many homers as our entire outfield. You know, we're getting, like, elite level production from our second baseman, but we're getting F-tier production from the entire outfield. Maybe not F, it's like D-tier. We're getting some on base and average, but even then, it's not elite on base and average. It's just solid in the case of Don. And Cabrera's DHing, so I'm not even factoring him in. Struck out Taylor. Joe Michael back at it once again. 3rd strikeout. They actually have put the ball in play, but haven't really done much with it. A bunt? I honestly don't think that's a bad idea. Didn't work, though. So Aaron Don actually has 7 homers now on the year. He must have gotten a little more power here late down the stretch. He homered the previous game, I know. Next year, Aaron, I want to see you hit 15 homers. We want 40 steals, 15 homers, a 275 average, and good defense. 3-2. And he draws the walk. I feel like it's time to steal a base. Don extends his lead. He goes and should be there easily. Got an extra step. It was a breaking ball. Aaron Don has 35 stolen bases now on the season. That ball is crushed to right center. Get going, Aaron, because this one is gone. Miguel Cabrera, 2-run shot. Right over that right center wall that slopes on down. Yeah, like I had Don just standing there. I'm like, no, they're not getting to that one. Just get your jog on. Gilbert. Right over the middle. Out to the fountain area. And Soderstrom is not done. Another hit. Under this one, Geloff flies it to left for out number 2. And now Ivan Melendez's turn. 1 for 2 on the day. Right at third base. That one is speared. Good swing, though, out of Melendez. Michael, meanwhile, shutout through 5. I feel like now he's gotten more consistent than he's ever been. And his level of play is just so high. Fly to Carlson. Just love throwing these fastballs up and watching them just attempt to make anything happen. And they'll catch it from time to time. But clearly it's not often. He's done great preventing home runs, great getting strikeouts. The walks, I feel, haven't even been a topic of conversation. Strike 2 to Lopez. I want to see if we can get him chasing one of these. Good pitch, fouled off. Struck him out looking, just clipping the top of the zone. That ball is deep and down the line. It is foul into the pool. For top 7, 0-2 on France. In the dirt. Time the challenge. Strike 3 looking. Michael doesn't want to give us a chance to talk about anybody in this bullpen. So collectively, we can just say that the bullpen's not very good. No! That was so close. Past Melendez and sneaking through. A couple hits here for Seattle as they try to get their first run. And it's Tyrone Taylor, the righty. Change up away from Michael. And then misses outside with the fastball. Looking like the most trouble he's had in this start. Just low, and it's 3-1. All right. Fastball's in there. 3-2. Down the line, and Don has a read on it to end the inning. Don early on that swing. We're into the Seattle bullpen now. And Don in the air hooks it down the line, and that's going to be extra bases. I'm not sure if it's going to be 2. He flies around second, and he'll end up at third. He already leads the team in doubles, so now he goes and gets his third triple. Nice little swing. It's soft, but it's right in the perfect spot. And then that misplay is what gets him the extra base. Oh, yeah, let's go back to the 5th inning. What happened there? I can't seem to remember. Cabrera, that's right. A hanging curveball. 2-run shot. Don hoping he can score him again. Way outside. That's down the line, but now too far out in front. On the ground, and they won't look home. Cabrera brings home Aaron Don. Michael just cruising along as he picks up a strikeout of Derek Hill. And we have one gone here in the 8th inning. Michael may be looking for one more complete game on his resume for the year. I haven't had this much fun watching a lefty dominate since I grew up watching Johan Santana with the Twins. A full count, though, as Rivas is giving him a good battle. And he lifts it for Don. That's 2. Poor Rockies, 54 games back of the Dodgers. That is just unreal. 54 games back. Like, how do you even approach that problem? There's only one thing I can think of, and that's lobbying your way to getting the Rockies into the National League Central. It's the only thing you can do. We'll take a ground ball. And see you back in the 9th, Joe Michael. Would anybody actually be that upset if we just swapped the Angels and the Rockies? The American League West might be a friendlier and more fair environment for the Rockies, who have never in their team's history won a division title. And do you think they're anywhere close to getting there first? Got a hit with Melendez on a jammed single. We get our fair share of those. And a drive from Muncy looking to split the gap, and it's run down. I thought that was going to get down. Oh, well. We'll bring in J.J. Bleday for what could be our last plate appearance of the season. And he rolls it over. And we'll go top 9. Joe Michael at 103 pitches. Now set to throw his last of the season. And that left arm can take a much needed break for a few months. How many pitches has Michael thrown this year? Does it keep track of that? He's always been an elite stamina pitcher. But now he's pitching well enough to where, you know, pretty much every day he seems to be going at least 7 innings. And if he's got a shutout going, well, you're just going to face him all day then. That's your problem. Pitch 109. Strike 3, right? Yep. Wasn't the year we all hoped for. But we're still taking steps in the right direction. This team started from such a low point. We've had to build up everything here. We're getting closer. 1-2. Lined right to Muncy. 2 down. The crowd still seems excited here in the finale. Joe Michael looking to give us our 80th victory of the season. 2 strikes on France. Struck him out. And we'll see you next season. Back in Athletics Park. Can we put the team together so we're playing playoff baseball here next year? Joe Michael with a complete game shutout to wrap it all up in a sweep of the Mariners. No walks for Michael, no runs allowed. He strikes out 8. And now we're going to go and take a look at our stats and put a bow on year 5. That is a 6-win improvement over last year. And our steps forward have been small like that. We began with 56 wins. Won 4 more the following year, 2 more the following year, then 12. That's actually a pretty big step. And now 6. We want to be above 500 next year, and we want to be a part of this bracket. This year, how far away were we? 4 games from missing. And you can easily go back through any of these episodes and be like, well, there's a game we should have won, and there's a game that we had no reason to lose. We had an 11-1 lead in one game, lost that. It was that close. Juan Soto had a .325 average this year, and Luis Guillorme did as well. So they had the top batting averages in all of baseball. For home runs, Pete Alonso hit 50, and that leads the league. We had 4 players break 40. Stolen bases, Aaron Don was first in the American League. There were a couple with more in the National League, but this is a really cool achievement for Aaron Don in his career. And we see his numbers against lefties are getting better. His plate vision's very good. A lot to be happy with here with Aaron Don's season, coming back from that ACL tear, and now he's back where he needs to be. Emmanuel Clase had 47 saves to lead the American League. In the National League, it was Brock Burke and Sir Anthony Dominguez, a reliever I had back in the Rockies franchise that I was very fond of pitching with in that game. ERA leader Shane McClanahan in the American League, Zach Wheeler in the National League. Looks like Jack Leiter's doing pretty good things now at the Texas Rangers. He's up to an 84 overall, coming off a career best season. For home runs allowed, Joe Michael is one of the best at preventing the long ball. That got a +6 this year. So all of his weaknesses are getting a little bit stronger. I still don't think we've seen quite what his strikeout upside could be. 8.6, 8.7, that's fine. But I still think that there's a chance he can be a 10-11 guy. 5.5 WAR, though, is also really nice to see. Max Fried had 3 shutouts, and I'm guessing Michael, he's one of many who had 2. Strikeouts, number 2 behind Dave Rios, a 74 overall C potential pitcher. Hunter Green at 250. 250 strikeouts. He's an 11.1 strikeout per 9 guy. Michael was towards the top in innings pitched as well. He'll give you 200 plus, it looks like, all day. Michael Soroka, one of the best at avoiding walking batters. I think Soroka was pretty solid this year with Michael taking the spotlight, and you can bet Michael's going to be our ace going into next season. And Joe Michael leads all of baseball in pitching WAR. He's already established himself as one of the best in the league. For batting WAR, Rafael Devers had 7.9, and that is number 1. Every year I like to check on Shohei Ohtani just to see how much he's still dominating this league. He's 32 years old. He is beginning to regress, but he can regress and still be one of the best players to ever play the game. So Shohei is still, hitting 34 homers, almost a 400 on base. Yeah, he's unreal. Wow, Miguel Cabrera was Rookie of the Month in August. He hit almost 400. I wonder if he ever won that earlier. Pete Santana had it back-to-back months. Carter Jensen had it back-to-back months. Pete Alonso is your back-to-back American League MVP winner. And it's Nolan Gorman in the National League. Rowdy Tellez was way up there as well. For Cy Young, I wanted to see Michael in the top 3, but maybe next year that'll happen. Aaron Nola and Shane McClanahan win those. Juan Soto's got the batting title for this year, but he has to share it. Reliever of the Year, Emmanuel Clase and Brock Burke. Rookie of the Year, I don't think that Cabrera played quite enough. Otherwise, I don't think anyone here beats out a full season of him. Trey Sweeney was number 2 in Gold Glove voting, ahead of Carlos Correa. If you're, ahead of Carlos Correa in anything defensively, you're in a very good spot. Tyler Soderstrom wins the American League Silver Slugger at catcher. That's the first of his career at catcher. Pete Alonso now has more than he probably has places to put him, along with his home run derby trophies. But we didn't take home any other awards this year. Maybe we can take home the award for one of the most improved teams. Vladimir Guerrero, 30 homers, 86 RBIs. Although we're seeing some really steep regression with his power against lefties, that's down 10. And that's because in 165 at-bats against lefties, he only hit 2 home runs. Luis Arraez had his best season in his career as he will recover from his hamstring and then enter his final year of this contract. Tyler Soderstrom got a ton of great development, really improved his offense this year in really all categories. He even improved, he didn't strike out as much, stole more bases. A 5.1 WAR is not messing around. He's a difference maker. Trey Sweeney. I think he's playing high-level defense, and he's a solid hitter. Is there still a step forward he can take? I'm hoping so. Zach Geloff hitting .277 with 16 homers. Doing a great job against lefties. And overall, his offense compares well to last year, but he did manage to get some more home runs. But maybe the 10 triples last year was a little more fluky. It's saying, though, he's a negative WAR player, negative .2. I don't know, that fielding percentage is pretty low. He had 14 errors. I know that's not the way to judge fielders in today's day and age. Like, outs above average is an amazing stat. We don't get that here in the show, but I think 14's too much. Dylan Carlson, this move was disappointing. He's under contract for 2 more seasons. Gotta play better next year. Josh Baez, he's not really getting better, it feels. Like, he's kind of been the same guy since 2025, and that really concerns me. We've talked enough about Don. Vargas did not take a massive leap this year, but we managed to just let him play where he's best, and that's against lefties. And his numbers ended up in an okay spot based off that, but his starting spot is not safe. The Dodgers are winning that trade right now. And outside of those guys, you know, the bench needs some upgrades, but Miguel Cabrera, what a great season he put together. And I'm happy to see that durability now up into the 40s. That's really nice. Looking at our pitchers, Soroka, Michael, Waldachuk, those guys are locked in, I think, for roles next season. I don't know yet about Luis Medina, because this year was a step back. And the level of play he was at couldn't really deal with a step back. Gunnar Hoagland, 60 innings this year, and hasn't played well enough to solidify a rotation spot, but he likely begins next year either as a multi-inning reliever or in this rotation. Cole Phillips, his numbers are more impressive, so I give him a slight edge over Hoagland when it comes to a rotation role next year. Hard to say if Domingo Acevedo is going to be back. I've loved having him in this series. For 4 years, he's given us mostly solid closing outings, but he's 33. He's 72 overall. I don't know if that's going to maintain. Jonathan Hernandez started strong, finished not quite as strong. So the reversal last year. Montez wasn't phenomenal. Victor Gonzalez likely not going to be coming back. Yeah, it looks like the 28 innings that Phillips got late were really, really good. Walk rate's a little high, but we can work on that. And we'll see if we have some new contributors next year from the minor leagues. There's Cam Cope at 76 overall. If we don't make anything happen in free agency, he's somebody we could look to call up. And then you've got some AA guys who will work their way into AAA, and down the road they might be in line to help us out, but we don't want to get ahead of ourselves there. Does Gregorio Uribe make the roster next year? I mean, he was one of the most dominant pitchers in all of the minor leagues this season. I know the numbers don't show up anymore, but he was spectacular. Unfortunately, with the injury to Julian Rodriguez, that pushes his timetable back a little bit. Still got development, but he missed much of this year. As far as guys who can, develop their way into helping us out next year, I think the big one is going to be Yusniel Cruz, and I'm not sure about anybody else in the field. I'm glad that his regression, got a little bit better here. Now the power is only down 7 against lefties, but to see it down at all is a little concerning. But he could be the missing piece. And depending on our roster construction, we'll see if it makes sense. But if I can't find like a bench bat, I might give Luis Estrella a chance in spring training. I know he's been a disappointment in this series, but he still has some outfield power and might be able to play on the bench. And then Forrest Battle is here at a 64 overall. And I think he's going to be a player down the road that we're going to be excited about. He has similar powers already to Estrella, but he's just got so much more upside as a well-rounded player. Well, that's where we are as we wrap up Season 5 in the franchise. Next season, here are projections for overall, and these numbers give me some hope. If we can have a better outfield next year that includes Yusniel Cruz, if Sweeney takes a step, if we add a pitcher, no reason we can't compete for a playoff spot next year. Well, that'll do it here in Season 5, everybody. Leave your thoughts down below, as the next episode will be the off-season, and it's an important one as we attempt to put this team in a spot to actually make the postseason in Year 6. Please leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Much more A's franchise coming your way. Have a great day, everybody.